It's making me think of like the intro to a Wall Street movie with my outfit, or maybe I'm a sports agent and I'm at the desk like
Yeah, there's a little bit of like televisionness to it. Uh, shall we just start with a point, an observation that came to me? Do you remember My Little Pony? Remember the brony craze? Did you have bronies at your school?
we
Just
had
one.
one. He would goon in the bathroom.
We had a brony that would goon in class. He had gooned in class,
There's layers
and
to this shit.
somebody
There's
that you
levels.
know, was like kind of pity friends with him, a woman. Not her. Um, then, do you know the name of the creator of the My Little Pony show? It's very fitting. This is the topic I want to start with. Her name is all right. Number one, it's the wife of the creator of the Powerpuff Girls. It's Craig McCracken, who created the Powerpuff Girls when he was 23. Also, it's crazy. He was great. He's alive. He's still great. His wife, Faust. Lauren Faust. And truly, the nominalism was at play. You know, she lived up to her name in the creation of My Little Pony.
I've never seen it. Do you think
I've never seen it either.
and
I
Austian deal?
I think just I've seen lots of the brony, you know, existence, and that is enough.
That could be a good Blair arc. Late stage
Bro.
bronyism. That instead of
I,
me
yeah, I
shilling
mean,
One
I
Piece.
think right now is probably the coolest time to become a brony. Like Silver Lake men should be having on their carabiners little My Little
I think a
Ponies.
tattoo in the patchwork tattoo. Get a Buttercup. What are the names of them? There's like one really famous one.
Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, that's it.
I had a female friend who was a big brony. Um, she would wear a tail to school, but it was like ahead of the curve. It was very cool when she was doing it.
I was this way about Drake. There was one period where Drake was very unpopular, and
There
I
is no
used to.
comparison between Drake and My Little Pony.
I would say they have similar effects on the culture, but
How
I
many
used
people do
to.
you think are gooning to Drake?
Have you seen the leaked videos of Drake?
No. People are gooning to Drake.
People are definitely gooning to Drake. I don't know who. I think it's kind of like the same people who gooned to LeBron.
Do people goon? I don't want to talk about this at all.
People absolutely goon to LeBron. He is like LeBron, my goat. They do edits where it's like a girl
Jack,
dancing and
not
then it'll
I'm
turn into a
Jack
LeBron
into my
montage.
goat. Jack into my goat.
What you been jacking to lately, my goat?
Here's how to keep your dignity, according to my distant cousin Amy Vanderbilt, in a relationship with a servant. Try from the beginning of your relationship with a domestic to establish a dignified employer employee relationship. Make your orders clear, and whenever possible, put them in writing. From time to time, review the work in a friendly manner. Giving censure, encouragement, and praise is needed. Avoid an apologetic attitude when telling an employee what must be done or improved. In your own manner and tone of voice, assume that what you are saying will be acted upon without difficulty or argument. Adult treatment of domestics usually results in responsible adult behavior on their part. Have you ever did your family have a maid?
This is the redacted part of the podcast. Look at how I'm dressed. We've had thousands of live-ins.
Did you ever I think that's something that young people have missed out on is fucking the maid. How many people were, molested by babysitters, but should have been fucking the maid? This is a drastic generational shift.
I do often think about the Pike and D'Annunzio accosting maids and nurses and servants, and I wonder. Here's a question for you. Some people are like they go more for breath in their sexual conquest, countless, and some it's about quality. Do you think the average Italian civilian servant was like a movie star quality person, or he
Okay,
was just conquest?
so there's both. There's both. I think that, and this is the key, he enjoyed a syphilitic whore just as much as the finest Italian noblewoman. There was no difference, and he kept both. Like that. That's the key.
Let's talk about syphilis. Does it damage your brain?
Eventually, yes. Um, have you seen? Do you remember by Tenants, like on Hyperion, the billboard? There's like a million. That's the billboard. Like
Is it the old
eye. It's
people
like the
getting syphilis?
eye. It's old people getting syphilis. There's the eye syphilis. It's like I think it's. What is the billboard? Is it like syphilis is curable?
No, no, it's eye syphilis is dangerous, and then there's like the old people where it says STDs
STDs
are timeless.
are timeless. This is not true. STDs are actually, especially AIDS, are part of the Lemurian Time War, and they were used to kill off William S. Burroughs' allies. Honest to God, like STDs are one of the worst tragedies. That's something I. That's actually one of the cruelties of God that I'm like that one in particular. But I'm also unsure how real a lot of them are in terms of like AIDS being manufactured, without a doubt. Um, Syphilis is also very new. Syphilis is like a very, very new disease because it destroyed, ran through Europe in the late 19th century. Um, these are, it's sad. No, Hunter S. Thompson had a great line about it, on environmental trouble and STDs. He's like, how will young people live when air is poison and sex is death?
Speaking on old people and sex, I heard a very fascinating story of a place called Paradise, California. Have you heard of this?
No.
It is or was a town that was 70% people over the age of 55, 60. It's like a retirement town. Then
100% STD rate.
the other 30% was like a private school, boarding school. And
The
there
Rushmore.
was a child sex ring where they would trade oxycontin and like painkillers to the children, and they would pimp them out in like a cycle. And then a
See,
fire came and destroyed all of it.
this is like the opposite of how the world used to be. It was the young people doing the fucking, the old people doing the drugs.
I mean, I think the old people were doing the drugs too, but
I'm
uh,
sure, but young people should not be doing oxy. Young people should not be doing heroin. Young people should be coked up.
was talking about coke yesterday. A friend of the pod, FaZe Banks, millionaire mogul, video game empire dude, is talking about how he was addicted to coke for many years while being like a functioning influencer. And my little brother was like, "Oh, do you think he was like lying about cryptocurrency during this time?" And I was like, "These things are synonymous." Many of the greatest business people are perpetually many friends of the pod be incoherently sending hundreds of messages on off the dust.
It's the way it is. Uh, on that topic, a fading famous person masturbates in public. A story as old as famous people. You know what I'm talking about?
This was recent,
No, no. I
or
mean,
just the
I'm sure that there
phenomenon
have been
of
recent
people getting caught
phenomena.
jerking off in public.
Yes.
Yes, I mean,
This is ritual magic. This is ritual magic.
it's what Norma Desmond should have done if
It's
the
a
cell
great.
phone existed.
She should have made an OnlyFans.
She would make billions.
Yes,
She'd be like
undoubtedly.
Cardi B.
Um,
Someone
this
please make a meme of like the screen cap of the OF header and do it as Norma Desmond.
um, it is a ritual. You know, it made me think of the joke, a joke on the play of the words humiliation ritual. Um, you know, imagine you were a fading famous person. You're like, I want to be famous again. You jerk off in public. You get, public indecency charges. All of the tabloids, all the news is talking about you, and you're famous again. It works. Coney.
I do feel like that's one button that has not been fully pushed by great artists.
MIAJO in public.
I just think for how readily available that material is and how big a part of it is in so many people's lives, there is not a lot of like transgressive art jumping into that world. Maybe it is the
In
plethora of it
porn?
that yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's hard because I think, like the Kanye song, it is already like there are the tropes of transgression that dictate pornography, which prevents authentic transgression.
Here's the next Kanye music video. This is a pitch. It's our MIA approved creative direction. Do you know how like there's sextortion online where someone's like, I recorded you on Skype through your laptop and I'm going to send it to you. Kanye needs to like do a very low grain video of him for like 10 minutes straight. He's got the full like staring into the camera, like life, like just the goon face. He's just like slumped over, and it's just a song in the background the whole time. But he is basically recording and sextorting himself for the public.
If Diddy just released the videos of freak offs, I feel like number one, most people would be like, wow, so cool. Like I think there would be a small, like, kind of the conspiracy people, the moral people who are like, oh my God, this is so awful. And the rest, that goes back to our long standing notion of the energetic elite. Be like, wow, they do things that I can't. They do things that I'll never do. I want to be like them. Epstein Funko Pop.
Do you think the average polyamorous polycule in San Francisco is closer to the energetic elite than the average internet dweller?
No.
Even if they be having crazy Reddit orgies?
The Reddit orgy is blocked by the Redditness. Like they are within the trope. They are within the trope of transgression.
What about the Ayla birthday orgy versus if Diddy freak off?
Yeah, that's the problem is like the charts and the graphs. They're thinking of numbers when they're fucking. They're thinking of numbers.
If she hired you to write about it from an occult symbological lens, do you think that would make it closer to a Diddy freak off?
It's like homunculi in an alembic freaking off. It's very sad. They are not real. They are not fully embodied.
Makes
It's
me
like
think of
it's
a quote from the Great Seder in MDE season one, where he calls that guy in the wheelchair a test tube gobbledygook. That is the average Ayla
well,
orgy participant.
I think that the San Francisco polycule thing is like children playing with toys, making them have sex. It's like their bodies are that to them. Their bodies are nothing more than action figures and dolls. There's not a real experiential pleasure.
For only $500 an hour, you can come to the warehouse and visit with Chris for a real experience. We're doing a goat walk, a goat presentation at the Devil's Gate
Damn.
in July. No, June, maybe, if you don't go to Scotland.
No, just tell me, what date are you thinking of? What date? If you can give me a firm date, I can
In
schedule it.
between the 7th and the 11th would be the dates.
I think that can be done. I think that can be done. We'll look at the astrology for the perfect day for that.
This is making me think of a character. I'm like a psychic businessman who appears at houses during game night, and I'm like Rumpelstiltskin. I'm like trading a child for your sports team's victory for sports betters. How many people in the world do you think would trade? Maybe it's like 5 years of your child's life where I have them.
And they win.
That sounds
They'll
fucking
like
horrible.
they'll
5 years
win.
in the later stage of their life.
They're in the no. They're in
For
the mine. They're in the mine. You put them in the mine, in the hell
I think
mine.
they get to go to Ad Astra with they get to have a good education and
So does
wonderful.
the victory of their sports team going to make them money? They're like betting on a game.
Let's do one where it's like they are a sports betting addict. The other, they're just a diehard fan who like cares about it like it's their own.
I mean, is this not literally Buffalo 66? This is literally Buffalo 66. I think
Yeah, but I would shoot it like Lucifer, where it would be really hokey, and it'd be like the kind of Sandman cover, where it'd have like Netflix digital cameras, and it would have like really clunky angles that would make it feel like a YouTube video.
I think the majority of them would do it. I think the deal with the devil is extremely enticing, and it's telling that not many people get them anymore. Most people will do it. Like we don't have a moral enough population for the devil deal to be a victory on the devil's part.
The new deal with the devil is signing up for TikTok.
Uh, on that topic, bad parents. I've been watching a lot of these lol cow videos still. Um, as we're in Taurus, I'm focused on the cows. Um, and something that you see is like really bad parents, with all of them. But what I don't grasp, what has always been very strange to me, and it's something I remember during school. My advice, people, my parents are blah 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 blah. I'm upset. And I'm like, well, why don't you kill them in your mind? Like, why do you care? Why does this matter to you at all? I've never fully understood. It's the privilege of not having parents. Um, and when it gets to that point where you're like an adult and you're fighting and screaming with your parents, why are you there? Why are you doing that? Why are you still at home? That's what I really don't get. And I don't buy that it's class.
It's partially soul ties, biological imperative. I mean, think of it from the flip side with your own child. I was having this conversation yesterday about how
I'm like giving my child to I'm going to put them in apprenticeship at like 8.
I was just
Send them
talking about how
to the
I
church.
I would love to have a lot of kids, and someone I was speaking about this with was like, you need to find the right woman, because they could divorce you, or they could end up, people change, And I was thinking about, what it's like to be, bring a life into the world, and how, if that were to happen, how you still want to be there for them. You'd want to like make sure they had a good life, and you tried to provide for them. But damn, what were we just talking about? I lost the train of thought.
Do you know 764? No, do you know the Order of Nine Angles? They're like on the topic of sextortion. They're the sextortion Satanist neo Nazis.
No, Jesus Christ! I'm looking at it right now. This is
Um,
this is new. What the fuck? This is in
yeah,
2019.
one of the 764 guys got very famous because his father shoots him in a video. Did you see this?
Like, does he die or just get
No,
shot?
no, he just gets shot. But he's like, the dad's like, I know what you're doing on that computer. I know what you're doing on that computer. They're like very old. Shoots him. Um, and then people were like, this is so fucked up. Why would how could a parent do that? And then it's like, oh, he was raping and molesting and grooming children and making them cut their names into their legs. You wish the father had better aim then. Um,
What do you do in that instance? Like, do you
if your
just
child is doing
yeah?
that,
Is it your imperative to kill them, or do you just try to send them to jail?
yeah, I think like if you are an old man and you are aware that your child is a molester, you should kill them. Take that L. You got 10 years left. Just die. Like it's okay. You
Do
can
you
you
think
can.
he did it? The father like made that child that way somehow, or it was just purely like
I mean, I think there's a lot of, you know, there was a tweet. Did you see? Um, a mother is like, I did all the like book parenting stuff. I did everything right, and my child just got a face tattoo. Just parent how you want to. It doesn't matter. Um, which is true. Like, I think parenting is a meme. It's very, very, very overstated how much it matters. I think there's a few important things very early in life that matter. And after that, it's entirely unimportant. If you do the right things early on and you keep the kids safe, you should then like send them off into the world as quick as possible.
here. As someone who plans to have kids, I'm going to like tell you my preemptive parenting philosophy, and you attack me. You try to poke holes. So what one thing? Breastfeeding is very important.
Yes, that's one of the early childhood things that's vital.
I was learning this from a friend who recently had a child, but at 6 months, it's something like 90% of kids stop breastfeeding and switch to formula. So, like, to be a baby breastfed for 2 years already puts you in like a minuscule percentage. I
Shall
don't
I
know that.
shall I dox my I was breastfed for 5 years. That's why I can speak so well.
That's why he has a YouTube channel. I was
That's
breastfed for 30 years. No. So yeah, that's one thing. I someone asked me this also. I don't know the answer for this one, but it was about vaccines, and I'm like, we'll cross that bridge when we need to. I'm under the assumption some of them are okay, but who knows? Um, I don't know. I would say the important things in my head are like, one, not to project a destiny on the child. I think your job is to like make sure they're provided for, that they're safe. Like if they have these talents and precocious behaviors, I'd say like try to push them in these directions, like try to support it, but trying to be like, you need to do this thing because it worked for me, or you need to do this thing because it's what I think the world ought to be, is bad. And I don't know. I think as long as the person is not like doing evil shit, like generally that is a success. Like expecting your children to be, I don't know, amazing and super hyper talented is bad.
Yes, but I think that it's bad to put that assumption and duty on your head, on yourself. But
Which
if you
assumption?
send of making them great, a parent can't do that. That I think is step one. Like a parent can give them the tools, but then you need to send them to apprentice. You need to give them a trade. Like if I put my child, if it was like Medici times, and you send your child to a atelier or to like a master painter, that child is going to be the best painter, the best painter within a few years. Like there is nobody who is alive who would have that skill level if you did that. Any trade, especially with the cult of the hand coming into importance, the best thing you can do, and not fucking electric work, and not not nothing like that. None of these like, oh,
Send them to
you need a
trade
trade.
school.
No, not trade school. Like give them a like make them a seal carver. Make them a sculptor or a painter or a musician. Like I think that's something that's a good instinct that like some of the parents have, is like my child should be making music. Like that's something I regret. I was in the entirety of my like education from home was just read books. They were like, you should, reading. It was a family that everybody read. So I read a lot. That, and I was taught to write quite a bit, but like that, and that's why I'm good at that. I've been doing it for a long time. Um, I don't think, unless you're lucky. Like my friend was born to two jewelers, but she never took it. She can do it, but it's not her thing, which I think is a shame. I think like it's good to be in that. It's good to be in the familial trade to a degree. But if they don't want to be, send them to another trade.
My boys will be meme boys. Going to
Uh,
create the Rizzler.
like I don't like I would give them a spiritual education a la Waldorf, but I don't think I would like teach my child extensive magic at an early age. I do think it's something that's meant for um, young adulthood.
I think the vision of wanting to have a big family, even beyond that, is like just having a good community. Like my ideal vision a decade, 2 decades from now is like a communal unit of 100, 200 people. And it's like, you know, close, family ties, friendships, that generally a community that looks out for each other. And I don't know, my father was a part of a very large family. And in my head, I've always just like the idea of like 7 kids and just, the stories. And like I drive, the house I have is in a suburban neighborhood, and I like see families, and I'm like remembering like, you know, movie nights and like groups of, I was a part of these like roaming bands of children when I was a lad in the Middle East. And the I think it's a good way if your kids are sort of like around a lot of other kids, that they grow up and learn on their own how to navigate socially. And that what you're saying though about the trade is like the one thing I wish was done for me, because I was like a very precocious math student as a child, and I often feel I sort of fell to traditional schooling where,
And this is
um,
the thing: is like, do you want, if you let your child um, just go to school, go to college, like they're going to be working at an office. I don't want a child that works in an office. I will say that. I don't think. I don't think that the future is going to be dictated by people like that. I think the future is going to be dictated by great skill and taste and intelligence that is not subsumed into a human machine.
what if your child's like, I really just want to go to public school and just play cart night and smoke vape?
I mean, I would. That's fine for one of them. One of them can do that.
It's like a raffle. They all want to vape. You're like, no, you will be Leonardo da Vinci.
Like, I think the problem of public education would be solved by proper skills, by proper apprenticeship. Um, it's like a key part of fairy tales, going off into the world to find what you'll do. Did we listen to the story, the fairy tale of like the four skillful brothers? They each become like
Oh
they
yeah, no,
each learn
I
from a
do remember this.
master. Like one is a master thief, one is a master tailor, um, one is a master hunter, and so on. And they like learn the great skills of each.
You're describing the Deathly Hallows in Harry Potter. That's actually where that came from. J.K.
That's fine.
Rowling wrote
That's
that.
fine. Um, okay. Perhaps on this topic, and this is what is taught by apprenticeship that can't be taught in school. I sent this to you, but this is from an interview with Cormac McCarthy. When I met McCarthy, he implied that the unconscious played a role in his own writing. I asked him for his views on the source and power of his own novels, and seated on a leather couch in the Santa Fe Institute library, he responded with a kind of parable. There was a guy who was a great wing shot on a quail hunt in Georgia. He killed everything he saw. He dropped them all morning. One of the other guys said, "You're the best wing shot I've ever seen." At lunch, the guy asked him, "Do you shoot with one eye open or both?" He paused and thought about it. Finally, he said, "I don't know." Whereas the book, the tactical manual is going to say, you have to shoot with both eyes open. You have to shoot, or you have to shoot with one eye closed. This is the proper method. If you don't, and people on Reddit will be reading that and buying, $10,000 guns, going out not being able to hit. If they had learned from a master shot, if they had remained in apprenticeship to a great hunter, they would know. They would not know. They would know that they don't know.
I thought maybe the answer would be he'd shoot with no eyes open. Pure intuition.
You probably
But it
could.
is about intuitively finding your ways of doing things. Like learning cannot be translated in mass, I think is the lesson. Like all of I don't know, any skill I have acquired, I've learned through a person. Even like tarot. Um I only really know how to read tarot from watching you do it for 5 years, and astrology through the varying psychics I have met. That's something I think about with even my own work and practice as I build out my sort of like applied meme magics is you can't really hire. Like there's no it has to be just over time someone kind of observing and working with you. And there's not really a way to look at a resume, or there's no on paper way to kind of find people, in my opinion. It really is just like sort of people fall into place, and then there's this like transferable experience of accumulated little lessons. I miss like adventures and questing, I think that's a big absence in modernity, is like those formative like
This is
multi-year
why this
treks.
is why we invented Whimsymaxxing.
I was thinking about this earlier today. The difference. So, okay, I was like half asleep when I thought of this, but I think it's extremely important. The mytho-poetic worldview is not to be mistaken with literary tropes in a sense. So, it is absolutely like if you read great works of fiction, you will see archetypes you ought to embody. But one of the restraints of most fiction is they often will like pervert things so it can fit within the confines of a story, which is one of the big differences between living Whimsymaxxing, and then a story that has an end. Like the thing about living it is your story is ongoing. It is continuous. There is like a constant recurring swallow cycle. There's often multiple swallow cycles occurring at once. And I think a lot of people look at fiction and they think happy ever after. They like kind of see the bastardized like the 70th Star Wars that's like even when it was archetypally like on point and doing it perfectly, they're looking at like a downstream, absolutely like retarded version that's been designed to
Make toys.
yeah. And that is a fear when we speak of this is like
Well, I mean, I
you
think that
can't
this
get
is
it
a
fully from
huge
fiction. You have to
part of
understand.
what Tom Thumb was saying, like what the Tom Thumb idea was, is that, there's an eternal swallow cycle. And like you said, there are multiple going on at once. Um, it's not, there is, the point of life is not death. The point of life is not the ending. The point of life is a continual adventure, a continual journey.
I think it's easy. I don't think either of us are people who live heavily in the past. But if one is to speak with most people today, there's a medley of different types of people. And I think people with an inclination to live heavily in the past tend to. Maybe a thesis to put forward is like imagine each of the planets as a swallow cycle
Yes.
recurring on loops. So you, and this is a simplification of it, but like at any given moment, your morbs, your humors might be influenced by a swallow cycle at a particular portion.
Well, you know
And
what my morbs actually were? Was I believe it was Neptune directly opposite my moon and Saturn opposite my moon. There was like a legitimate morb cycle that was occurring. I think this is also something that we should talk about is like why astrology is good, even if you don't believe in it. Um, Time, thinking about time, time is like a fantastic technology. And it's why I always recommend a moon phase watch is that if you are thinking about time solely in solar time, solely by hours, minutes, days, weeks, you are missing out on these greater cycles, these greater narrative cycles that are occurring in your life. When you are aware of it, there is so much more fullness to the philosophy of time. It's a tool that should not be wasted by like, bro, I have this many years to grind and do this. Like, you don't know. You can look at the planets and see maybe you're going to be grinding in your 60s, or maybe you've already grinded your grind. Maybe you are an eternal grinder. It's in your chart. Who knows?
I guess I think this whole line of thought is for someone in the morbs who is wallowing to know there is like so much. There is so much you will experience.
I think I had a little bit of a Morby week. It wasn't horrible, but it was not great because my car was in the shop. My car was in the shop for like a week, maybe like a week and a half, and it was very depressing. I hate not having a car. Um, Having a car will change everything. That's also, old ancient MIA recommendation, but like you need a car. You need a car. You need to be driving. You need to be adventuring. You need to be driving with the top down.
I like how this is I'm thinking about like if Taylor Lorenz watched this, friend of the pod Taylor Lorenz, and was like summating this into like a few sentences, the whole MIA podcast, and it's like they use a combination of Freudian psychology and occult references to tell Gen Z to get a car and have sex and go outside. It's like literally just like the most conventional advice, but it's like, no, the texts have been telling us you
I
need
mean,
to get your license.
but this is the whole point is that the people who get into the esoteric disregard the conventional wisdom. That is what they abandon. They abandon conventional wisdom in favor of the digital esoteric. And the point that we make is that through the esoteric, we come back to a lot of conventional wisdom. It's funny. This was actually a critique that I saw. Somebody was saying like they want to sodomize me for my failures, and on Twitter, I was name searching a little while ago, and they're like, I hate that he uses all the occult wisdom to just say that you should be a normie. Like, that's so fucked up. He should be more extreme like me. And it's like an anime PFP Nazi, you know?
Crowley would have loved DoorDash and cotton candy grapes and Dubai chocolate bar. If he had had those things, he would have changed his philosophy. He would be just like you. He would be gooning. He'd be flicker gooning. He would be.
Well, I think, Crowley would certainly not be the same manner of libertine that he was in the Victorian times today. He would recognize the transgression as being failed.
He would be like Solbra.
I don't think he would do that either.
He'd be like.
I think he would probably be a rapper.
He'd be Tom McDonald.
He would be
He'd
Eminem. Eminem has a chart very similar to Aleister Crowley. He might be a comedian, a comical rapper.
I guess what do you think that person is prescribing? What is the alternative? What is being weird and
Being a
transgressive in
Nazi
their mind?
online. That's what they want. This is also
Post
like
post face.
Kanye
Post
won.
face.
Exact. Kanye won by virtue of like being a public, like, also what he is doing is a real return to rock and roll and punk. Like, all of the punks in England wore swastikas because their parents were killed by Nazis, because their parents' friends were killed by Nazis. That is the point. Like, that was the transgressive point. Like, and obviously Bowie and fucking Rolling Stone, like all of that, biker gangs and shit. Like, before it became like political, it was solely to make people mad in the culture. Did you watch The Filth and the Fury?
What's it about? Like skinheads?
No, it's about the Sex Pistols. Do you know about Vivienne Westwood?
The designer?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you know that she was married to Malcolm McLaren?
I did not know that. That's I know, yeah, I feel like sorry, there's just something that's coming to mind when I'm looking at the Sex Pistols thing. Um which is I think a lot of people mistake the feeling of being on 4chan and the transgressiveness of being racist to that of punk. Like Gavin McInnes is a good example. The like cogent difference is the translation into like real life and art and lifestyle. If you spend all of your time online and the most transgressive thing you can think of is like having raw eggs and being in a group chat where like I would say 99% chance like one of your 5 friends is actively grooming someone on whatever the fuck your racist group chat is. Um that's the difference is like the Sex Pistols were like living and doing stuff. I'll
And
bet
like getting physically attacked constantly. Like, that was part of it as well. Like, you're so brave for being an internet Nazi because you could lose your job. No, like the Sex Pistols were getting hacked at with machetes in the streets of London all the time.
Meeting the physical result of the idea, whereas doing it purely online to other milady profile pictures to like get the dopamine hit of affirmation from your friends is a very different thing.
I mean, that's what I remember in the early days of meme analysis. People would often be like, "Bro, you need to get into this Discord group chat. You need to talk with this guy. He knows everything." Like, no, why would I do that? He's online. He's on the computer.
I do think that that is there's like a fundamental impulse towards this with the creator boxing, but what we need to actually do is just, and I think Dreg could help us organize this, but we just bring everyone together, and whoever wins in the fights, ideology wins. So it's as many bread tubers, as many political people,
We
as
need to
many
bring back
influencers.
duels. Period.
Swords or fisticuffs?
Swords to the death.
You and Big Joel first fight. We're doing the creator duel.
Do you remember?
Creator slash.
There's a line from Crowley, and I think that the from the Book of the Law that I think is perhaps the most important in terms of grasping what magic is for and how to understand real magicians. Success is thy proof. Argue not, convert not, talk not overmuch. Them that seek to entrap thee to overthrow thee, them attack without pity or quarter, and destroy them utterly. Success is your proof. That is it. If you are not, if your success is a Discord group chat, you are not a great magician, and your knowledge is worthless. The magician who knows very little but is able to operate effectively in the world and greatly in the world, like that is the great success.
Success. 9 episodes of a podcast. What say you of this? Where's your podcast?
I mean, I think it's cringe to be like, oh, the dimes thing. Like, I was at this party. I was hanging out with this person. Like, it's better. I think it's obvious. I think there's like you can tell when some people are cool in real life. Some people are social, but it's not as if that is it either. It's not as if being cool is being a successful magician. There is certainly more than that. There's the production of great work. A great line from brilliant alchemist Ava. I lost 20 pounds with alchemy.
Is there a cult ED Twitter?
There should be. There should be a cult ED Twitter.
Turn that love handle into a homunculus.
I shaved off my human fat and I made it into a little homunculus. When I want to eat bad food, I feed it to them.
My tapeworm
My
is my
homunculus grows. Exactly. Eat your homunculus. Let them eat all the shit. I took the homunculus pill. It lives within my stomach.
What's happened this past week? What's some topical stuff we can talk about?
I was looking at the Know Your memes of the week, and they were all bad.
There's Mr. Beast as a gangster that's kind of amusing. It's like a weird AI rebranding. Makes me think I'm gonna put out a video about this, but it's interesting to see what AI is liked and isn't. I find that very fascinating. What gets kind of the cultural seal of approval and what is derided. Duolingo, which we brought up on this podcast, they're like the kingpin of social media, has privated their account, deleted all their videos
They
because.
stole your methodology and then abandoned it for AI.
And it's funny, I in the only video I've made back in 2 years, I talked about brands doing AI and how generally it is very bad. The acceptable instance is when it is purely for a joke and it is done by a creator. And that that is like human creativity just using a new medium. It's not like, oh, I'm going to replace something wholly, or like I can optimize labor costs or whatever. And that's the big joke of it, honestly, is
Yeah,
like
I guess maybe that might be actually the good litmus is like, was this done out of laziness?
I think the thing that upsets me is that they will look at Tim Cheese, the stories, they'll look at this light skinned Mr. Beast thing, and they will use that as a justification to be lazy without understanding that was a creative person doing something silly, you know, versus who can I fire? Like how can I optimize around? But all good creativity comes
Well,
from.
did you see that Pinterest had like banned like everybody's account? They were like they had AI doing the moderation, and were
I
like,
thought you were going to say they banned all the AI creators, and I was like,
no, no,
good.
no, no. They let AI do it and like banned millions of accounts all at once, and then just reinstated it, and are like, don't like anything. If you like pin like, we gave it back, but we're watching, as
I
if they
think the
didn't make a
amount of
huge mistake.
things like that exact moment that will happen because of AI over the next 2 years will be innumerable, because it is really not where it is said to be.
No,
Like the amount of people I meet who drastically overestimate where it is, because it like
it is
it's a
so
computing.
stupid. It is so dumb. It is unbelievable. And anybody with the slightest inclination to critical thinking would know that. Unless they're invested in open, like there's like a problem of like uh, what is it, conflict of interest, where the best AI blue, I don't know what, hopeful people are invested in the companies. They're getting, they're going to make money if it wins. Yeah, it's totally bullshit.
I just think like I could be wrong about this. I don't understand the technology fully, but from what I understand, one of the big stopgaps is computing power, and it will intentionally cut corners because people are not critical. So it's like as you think, oh, it's learning with me. It's like no, no, it will lie to you. It gets the most easy shit wrong. Like it can't do certain like basic math. And if you are someone who is over reliant, like I was listening to an entrepreneur guy be like, I told it my whole life. I did it, and it gives me the highest level business advice, higher than anyone I could pay for. But it's like, if you don't know what you're doing, it's gonna just default back to the stupid version. It's gonna be like, yeah, you should cut off your friend's arm. That's gonna help the business. And it's like, okay, yeah, you gave me 3 reasons. It's like a list. It's like a college essay.
I'm talking to Cleverbot right now. Do you remember Cleverbot?
The beginning of the end. Do you ever go on Omegle?
Yeah, of course.
Omegle's having a resurgence.
Slightly closer to material reality than Discord chats.
Messaging Cleverbot right now.
I asked, "Are you the same Cleverbot that existed in 2010?" It said, "No, I'm human." How old are you? Old enough. A lady never gives out her age. How about you? We should do a MIA pod on Omegle.
I do think the Omegle content I've seen is quite amusing. I think it is.
We could combine the transgressive discussion of earlier. We could jerk off on Omegle, and that's like 90% of the people.
The Goon Pod.
Was Gypsy Crusader Omegling? Was that his thing?
I think so. It was something, if not that, it was like a similar clone. I know there's just like a marketing thing going on right now where they're like, Omegle's back. And there's a lot of content of like people being racist or something. And then people film that and it's like, let's find you. Find this person's address. I don't know. I was going to ask actually, let's ask our friends ChatGPT for some ideas for this episode. See if Chris
I'm
can
going to
even
ask
tell.
Cleverbot. We'll see.
Do you
We're
have
going to compare
any
advice.
of me intelligence agency? I am currently recording. Let's see. Okay. Okay, this is really strange.
What's it
Okay,
saying?
let's see. Single idea. This is okay. This one sounds like you. It says slop era is over. We're in the reheated slop era. Not just derivative memes, derivatives of already derivative memes.
Okay.
I found a Discord server where every meme is made by one guy.
I'm going to ask the Twitter AI, see what that has to say.
Do you think 2016 Trump election, 2002 Mayan calendar meme, or Trump assassination is a better mimetic divergence point? Of
The
those
election.
three.
Wait. Give me the three again.
2012 Mayan calendar, world is ending. 2006 Harambe, or 2016 Harambe thing, or Trump winning Kekistani victory, or Trump dodging the bullet.
2016. 2016 also has the David Bowie death, you know? I mean, 2012, I think, is the precursor for sure, but it's not at the same level.
For 2012, I remember it felt like I don't think I saw much of the aftermath. It felt like a big nothing burger, the first of many nothing burgers conspiratorially. But I don't know. Were you more online then? Did you see a lot?
In
That
2016?
2012.
That was like Reddit atheism. Things were very slow back then. Things were not moving as fast. Do you remember, what was it, Soapy? Pipa? It was like that Privacy Act.
Ooh, was it like something about something was going to happen to the internet?
Yeah, I remember that. Also, the Twitter AI says that we should revisit baloney fetishism.
Why?
I don't know. That's what
We've
it's
tried
saying.
it since then. We've been wrapped in cream cheese and processed ham. We need an MIA investigative female reporter like that one show on Vice that was, and we're gonna go
Now
send them to go visit lol
here
cows
on the
and be
streets.
tormented.
You know, I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing after we record this. I'm going to be getting in my convertible with my girlfriend. We're going to go to the oldest existing McDonald's.
What are you
It's
gonna
like
do there?
eat. I don't know. Go and visit the museum. It's the oldest McDonald's in the world.
Is it in LA?
Yeah, yeah. It's like very east, but it is LA.
I had a hamburger today. I had
Where
Wendy's.
did you get your See, I don't like Wendy's. Wendy's gave me a tummy ache like a few years ago, and I've never eaten it since.
They don't freeze their meat. That's like their big thing.
Whoa! Wow! You know what's so crazy is how fucking good In-N-Out is. how much better In-N-Out is than anything.
You can go have your 6-week-old McDonald's frozen hockey puck.
I think McDonald's is very good, to be honest. I think McDonald's is like significantly better than most fast food burgers, than most middle of the road dining burgers. It's rare that a $20 burger is better than a quarter pounder. That's my argument.
I think. Let me think about burgers.
I had a burger yesterday, actually. I was at Bob's Big Boy, the David Lynch Bob's Big Boy, and I had that
How was the
original.
burger?
The first one that I had last year was very bad. I really didn't like it. This time I was like, I'm just going to get the trad, like normal Big Mac style. Like they invented the Big Mac. I had that. It was very good. I mean, it wasn't as good as McDonald's, but it was not as bad as it had been.
I
Their
don't
shape
know.
was good though.
Yeah, fuck. I'm trying to think of good burger. What's that one? Burgers Never Dies. It's like very greasy, but for like a smash burger, I like that. But I don't know. In-N-Out's probably the go-to for fast food burger. Um, I don't like Shake Shack's burgers that much. I feel like I want the bun to be crispier.
You know,
Too soft.
Ava makes very good burgers.
I do think the democratization of the smash burger method has made homemade burgers infinitely better.
My
You like
grandmother is like
slice some onions really thin.
renowned. My grandmother's renowned for her burgers. She was taught by a master burger maker.
Fuck, I just remembered the best okay, two really good burger places. One, Cape Cod. I'm
Oh,
fucking
Mom and
mom
Pops.
and pops. I crave that burger constantly. They have a blue cheeseburger that's fantastic.
That's
And
like
there's
the
a burger
ideal.
place.
You know what that burger is ideal for? It's mashing. When I eat that burger, I want to mash it.
There's a burger place. Uh, burger place in the country. I think it's in South Dakota that I've had that's really
Do you remember when we
fantastic.
got a burger with Junior Boy
Where?
at Whataburger? Do you remember we went to Whataburger in his Mazda? Yeah, it was
I
after.
remember meeting him in Austin. I don't remember
Yep.
going to Whataburger.
Yep.
Whataburger is ass. Whataburger is fucking terrible.
I
They
had the
got
last
bought.
time I had Whataburger was in Nashville, I think. But the last time might have been with Marley on a road trip, and I was like eating the burger, and it was literally falling apart, and I was like putting it out the window because it was shit was flying out of it.
The exploded hamburger.
The
Jack
exploded
Parsons.
hamburger. Oh my god, the exploded hamburger. We should do that on our goat walk. Exploded goat.
Everyone will be provided a burger. So the goat walk is a friend of the pod, Lydia Wren, has goats. She does guided goat tours. We're gonna do one at the Devil's Gate Dam at some point between the 7th and 11th of June. You're all cordially invited, and we will be participating in a mass ritual
Why
after
don't you
learning
come
about
this
these.
month? Why don't you come earlier?
They don't want
Okay.
to. I'm tired. I'm tired of traveling. Mexico took a lot out of me. I'm training to get extremely buff to beat up all the MIA fans to become the leader. I do want to do the goon chat again also. So no one.
If we had just kept the
All right,
momentum,
no living in the
no
past.
living in the
There's
past.
only now.
No living in the past.
Goon chat revival, actual talking. The only rule is if you can't send more than 3 sentences in one message. You have to split it up and talk
I
like you're
think just
like
no therapy. No therapy is very key. No, no pointless edginess.
we'll have some goon chat admins, but um, at this Devil's Gate Dam event in June, we will be mangling hamburgers to commemorate a ritual for Jack Parsons' untimely explosion. Um, did he pass in the explosion?
What the fuck? You don't remember reading it? That he was like mumbling and trying to scrawl out final words and trying to talk to the paramedics as half of him is gone. That's like the key image. The key image. You
You
know, I
think he
don't I
faked
don't
it?
remember if we talked about I don't think we ever talked about this on the pod actually, but we talk about, how it befits the ending of Faust. Not Goethe's Faust, but Faust, like he becomes exploded hamburger. Devils come and tear him apart.
No. Uh,
I'm gonna read it to you. Um,
it befits John the Baptist.
and then it's the ending of Blood Meridian as well.
The kid.
Yeah,
Does he get torn in half by the judge in the
he
porta
gets
potty?
exploded by the judge. Yeah.
What good judge did be doing to him ever?
Well, gentlemen, through Faustus's end be such as every Christian heart laments to think on. Yet he was a scholar once admired for wondrous knowledge in our German schools. Will give his mangled limbs due burial, and all the students clothed in mourning black shall wait upon his heavy funeral.
I think perhaps we end it here.